Okay, so what we're talking about today is identifying the slope and the y-intercept of equations when the equation is in the slope-intercept form. It's very important to know the term slope-intercept form because you may take a test or something and they say use the slope-intercept form. What that's saying to you is that you will see the slope and the y-intercept in these places in the equation y equals mx plus b, where m, the number that's the coefficient of the x term, is your slope, and b, the number by itself, is your y-intercept. Now, in this form, all you have to do is identify the slope and the y-intercept. When you know the slope and the y-intercept of an equation, you know enough to graph it using the slope-intercept form. Right here, I gave you an equation. The given equation is y equals 2x plus 5. 2 is the coefficient of the x term, also known as the slope. The letter that they use to represent the slope all the time in this form is m. M is the number before the x, as I said, the coefficient of the x term. B is the constant term, which will be all by itself. A constant is a number that value remains the same forever. The number 5 represented 5 when you were born, when you die, when your grandparents were born, when your great-grandparents were born, when your children and grandchildren are born. The number 5 will always equal 5. That's why we call numbers all by themselves constants. In this equation, m is the slope, as you can see, is 2 over 1. I have you write that fraction 2 different ways because when you start graphing it, you'll need to get to the other side of the line, and you'll understand more about that when we get there. So 2 over 1 is the same number as -2 divided by -1, because in algebra, a negative divided by a negative is equal to a positive. So -2 divided by -1 is the same thing as 2 over 1. And again, b is the y-intercept, is that number at the end of the equation that's all by itself. Now we have another equation, y equals 4x plus 2. Again, 4 is the coefficient of the x term, which is m, which is the slope, and b is the constant at the end, which is 2. So the slope is 4 over 1, which can also be -4 divided by -1. So 4 divided by 1 is the exact same number as -4 divided by -1, because again, in algebra, a negative divided by a negative will equal a positive. And b, again, is the y-intercept because it's the constant term at the end of the equation. Now, I want you to know that equations won't always be given to you in this form, but your job would be to put them in this form. Okay, now here's another one. Y equals 2x plus 5. 2 is the coefficient of the x term, and 5 is the constant term. So m is 2 and b is 5. So the slope is 2 and the y-intercept is 5. In this one, we have y equals -3x minus 2. This time, m is -3, which can be written as -3 over 1, which also is the same value as 3 over -1, because in algebra, a negative number divided by a positive number makes the number negative. Negative divided by positive is negative, and positive divided by negative is negative. In other words, the rule says if the sign of the numerator, the top number, is different from the sign of the denominator, the number is actually a negative number. So with the -3/1, 3 is negative, 1 is positive, they're different, so therefore we're talking about a negative number. 3/-1, same thing. Now this form right here, for a final answer, you wouldn't use it. But to get the graphing, you need to know this side, because this is what you're going to use to finish graphing. B, which is the y-intercept, which is the point where the graph crosses the y-axis, is -2. Notice I had to get the negative sign with it. It's -2, because the equation says y equals mx plus b. So what this is plus a -2. Now I have a quiz here for you. And I want you to stop the presentation and do the quiz on the slide below. Insert text boxes to input the information when you're on the Google Classroom. So here's the quiz. And it's in your Google Classroom. Please go to your Google Classroom and do this quiz and turn it in now. Thank you. If you're not on Google, you can do it on a piece of paper. Thank you.
We got it sitting there in Google Classroom.
Yes. The end. Thank you. I hope that was helpful for you.